I want us to get into a very important aspect where Nigerians and somehow comedians, I don't want to say all comedians, some comedians, just as you had mentioned earlier about a fallacy of hasty generalization. In as much as I wouldn't love to fall into that fallacy, some comedians actually joke about this particular aspect, and Nigerians are not sometimes in tune with it. Why do I say so? It has to do with lives and properties. And so I take you now to the aspect of insecurity. On our highways, we have insecurity issues. In some areas in Nigeria, local government, states, we have insecurity issues, kidnappings, banditries, people who whisked away children are in the forest. Since 2014, the children that were taken, Chibok girls, have not returned. They have been released in batches. And just some few months ago, we heard about the Oyo children, one of which we heard is dead. We don't know about others. The general that died and was killed by bandits, the one that just died and the wife was released due to what the government said. It was whatever they said, but the wife came to say that it was actually a snake biting because of staying in that forest. And all of these happen, and we still see some people joke about it. And this is a particular a concern for us, in particular insecurity. So, is this particular aspect of our lives as Nigerians supposed to be joked with? This is my question to you now. Insecurity issue. Should we, as Nigerians, whether comedians or not, joke with this particular one? Should we play some complacency with it?
Okay. I do not think insecurity is an aspect we should joke about. Now, it's something that must be taken serious. Lives and property. In fact, government exists to protect lives and property. So when government fails in doing this, it becomes a colossal loss. You've reeled some names. Look at a retired army general, spokesperson at the defense headquarters, was killed. His corpse taken and delivered to the government. This is getting close to 60 days that we had the Oyo school children kidnapped. So I do not feel that anybody should joke about the issue of insecurity. Now, if it must come into comedy, then it must be such that it is satirical in nature and not just for us to laugh about. We must be able to make government draw lessons from its inability to protect the lives and property of Nigerians. That is the number one responsibility of government. Government exists to protect lives and property, and when it fails in that responsibility, then I do not know. We shouldn't say that such a government is, in quote, responsible. So it's not something we should joke with. I don't think it's worth people's lives. Life is sacred. From the scriptures, through everything, life is sacred. Bloodshed should not be a subject of joke whatsoever. But if we must bring humor to it, that humor must be able to draw the attention of government. Look at, okay, I think there is, I'll still go back to Amuneke, for instance. He does things about insecurity, but for him, it's not just for us to laugh about. It's to draw the attention of government that this is the action that you are committing, and it is detrimental to the lives of the Nigerians.
This discussion now, comedy, complacency, let's relate it to the young people in Nigeria. I'm talking about the youth, the entirety of young persons, whether or not they have been schooled. But of course, many of them have skills. So we see skits now, some comedies now, and sometimes it is joked about very deeply, showing how graduates with multiple degrees are working around relatively without jobs in our country. And this actually gets back to youth unemployment and how they are being used for other social vices. So, do you think we can, in that aspect, maybe since it has to do with the youth, and of course, most of the persons who actually pilot the comics that we view are young persons, do you think that we can actually say, okay, fine, since it is a youth body, it is anything that has to do with the youth, let's go ahead, let's be comic about it. Maybe it could help government to do something about the relatively unemployed number of youths that we have in our country.
Okay, so you know that comedy also puts food on the table for people. All right. So you have comedians who must eat. So one must be able to bring his or her talents to bear. I'm not going to say that because I'm not going to put sand in a comedian's food. No, I wouldn't. But while we are doing all of this, we should also, as I have always said on this program today, we should also be able to call government to account. The issue of youth unemployment is real. The issue, they said, oh, go learn skills. But after you must have learned a skill, the environment with which you need to deploy these skills, the business climate is choking. So you discover that I have a skill of I am a barber, for instance, and that's not me, but I'm using myself as an instance now. I am a barber. The cost of buying fuel to ensure that I get people served can eat up my business and make me go out of circulation. So government must ensure that they do the right thing, keep the climate favorable. So, to your question that whether you should joke about unemployment, we should know where to draw the line. We should know where to draw the line. You, while joking about unemployment, you can use that as a veritable tool to calling government to action. That's where I will rest my case on that.
I like that you mentioned that you are not the one to put food away from the tables of comedians, and you'll agree with me that youths are even becoming the biggest comedians right now, especially in the case of in this era of monetization of social media. Once something happens, instead of us to like call ourselves together and try to see a way to get our government into doing the right things, we just make trends out of it, just so that one way or the other we are able to get paid by these social media platforms, just so that we're able to get paid, and it now becomes the highest person who is monetized, the highest account who can get the most money. So many of these call outs that people do, youths do, it's not out of activism, it's not out of love for the government, it is out of their own pockets. Oh, they want to create more views for their accounts. And Oyime has mentioned that the youths were suffering from unemployment, and you would also see that they are seeing it as a way of employment as well. That if the government cannot provide work or jobs for them, they would also use this medium of ridiculing the government and also make money for themselves. So I understand that you've already mentioned that we need to draw the line. I also want you to shed more light on this issue of monetization, and also when it comes to the real issue, how are we supposed to draw the line? We need to be monetized, we need to make money, and at the same time we also need to call our government accountable. Yeah.
Yes, drawing the line between monetization and accountability. In trying to get monetized, no one stops you from deploying your skills into making ends meet. But I would also want to advise the youth that in doing this, you should also be sensitive to the society, sensitive to your environment. Let your content be such that it will help build and not just, you come up on social media, do things that will, bring the society down. I've seen youths who take it upon themselves to analyze public discourse, and they get paid for that. They have views such that they have money. So we can deploy our monetization sense positively in these regards. We can all deploy our monetization sense towards dragging the attention of government to the basics they are supposed to do. So while we get monetized, or while we are pushing for viewership, while we are pushing for clicks, this should be content that will help to build the society, not the ones that will, just make light of things for the sake of making light. So we must be able to have content, have youths who come up with content that are genuine, that are germane, contents that attract the attention of government. Now, if all of us become content creators on issues of good governance, I think the government will have to find a way of imposing some restrictions on social media if all of us become advocates, because that will heap pressure on them.
Way to gradually bring this to a close. We have less than 5 minutes. So I want to hear your thoughts on elections. In 2027, January, we'll be having the general elections. And you can agree with me that over the years we have had young people turn campaign promises into viral jokes. Do you think these jokes increase political awareness or sometimes discourage citizens from taking elections seriously?
Yes and no. It can discourage people from taking political conversations serious. It can also help to further the cause. That it would depend on how these jokes are couched, how these jokes are formed. And now, for every creative, he has an intention. He has what he wants to achieve at the end of the day. So if your intention as a creative is for my joke to contribute to the furtherance of the society, you will tailor it towards a direction. Your message will be clear and you'll be well directed. But if your intent is to just gloss over the issue, then it will be seen by the content of what you put. So while we go towards 2027,
okay,
I think it's important.
All right. Okay, let me hold you there. Let me hold you there because I want us to, in your final thoughts, looking at Nigeria today, Anya Romana, from economy to governance to insecurity and to migration, are Nigerians actually using comedy as a tool for awareness and resilience, or are they laughing away problems that require collective action? What would you say on this as your final thoughts? Just in 30 seconds, please.
Are doing both. Comedians are doing both. Some persons are using it as a way of drawing the attention of government, while some are only just putting up jokes that will laugh away and relieve ourselves. But I commend others who are actually using their God-given comic skills to draw the attention of government, and we should encourage those categories of comedians. Thank you.
Anya Omana, who spoke with us this morning, is the station manager, Redemption 101.5 FMABAC, the Citizen's Voice in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you very much. He is a poet, he's a linguist, he's a communicator, and of course, he is a journalist. Thank you very much, Anya Omana. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nyeme.
All right. I know it's been the size of the show this morning, but Simiat, what do you think in all of this?
Well, I think this discussion reminds us that laughter is not necessarily the problem. In fact, for many Nigerians, for many Africans, laughter is survival, it is a stress, it builds community, and sometimes it even speaks truth to power. However, the big question is that what happens after the laughter? Do we continue demanding answer? Do we follow up on investigations? Do we hold leaders accountable? And also, do we simply move on to the next viral trend? You know, humor should help us cope, of course. At the same time, it shouldn't stop us from caring and also stop us from demanding accountability from our leaders. That'll be my final thoughts for today.
And I think I just want to buy into the final thoughts by Simbiat Hamzat. It has been a wonderful time having to speak with a young man and also having you to sit there to listen to us. However, take note that everything humor is not funny. Everything funny is not humor. And so draw the clear line between humor and comedy. I am Uyime and Nete. Do have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of our podcast. It is Razep Africa. God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa. Good morning.